Hello, everyone. This is Vern's talk show, and it's on. Sometimes it's on every week, every 2 weeks, and wherever I can get. And I got one here now, and we're gonna let's see what we're gonna talk about here. Who do you work for?
Well, I work for UWIW in Wisconsin,
Okay.
and one of the responsibilities I have there is running the volunteer center, so I'm volunteer center director.
Oh, okay. Well, that should be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Never a dull moment, that's for sure.
That's right. Never a dull moment. Boy, I tell you, you can say that again. Okay. Now, the first one here is why volunteer?
Yeah. So a lot of people are probably wondering, why should I volunteer? You know, what's in it for me? And there's like a lot of different reasons, and it goes way beyond just the usual, you know, it's good for the environment, you know, helping the community and helping others is important, and it can be fun and a way to meet other people. But it does go way beyond that, in ways that you might not have even thought of. So for like example, volunteering can be good for your health. I know a lot of people have not thought about that, but I'm pretty sure you know that firsthand, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I feel better when I got things going. Like now, I feel real good. And a lot of times, you know, you sit home. I mean, I ain't got nothing against it or anything, but you haven't got nothing to do much, you know. Especially now, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that Vern is currently volunteering as we speak.
Right. Yep.
That you volunteer for WRCM.
Right.
And this whole show is a volunteer project.
It is, and I like it. I mean, I talk to different people. I mean, you know, I come in here and that I enjoy it very much.
And there's some scientific backing that can, you know, prove that that volunteering is good for your health. So, say for example, you've heard of Helper's High. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I think.
So, what happens is when you volunteer, a number of hormones are released
Sure.
that they're natural painkillers, and they also elevate your mood. And so we call it one of the few highs that are good for you.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Sure.
So Helper's High, it is a real thing, and I've experienced it myself when I'm done volunteering. You feel really, really great, and you feel like you're walking on air, and it's a real thing, and it is good for your health, and that impacts your health in a number of other ways as well. We know that folks who volunteer are less likely to experience depression. And grief. So, for example, after like the passing of a loved one or something like that, we know folks who have been volunteering will go through that grieving process a lot shorter, just because you know they know that there's so much good in the world. Volunteering also affects your physical health. For example, we know that volunteering can help you with your blood pressure, with your immune system, and sometimes if it's in your stress, volunteers tend to feel stress a lot less, and it can also affect you like physically if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity that will keep you kind of out there and physical. You can walk dogs at the Humane Society. We have a walking school bus at a couple of our schools. You can volunteer at the Y, you know, just helping people learn how to learn the ropes and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that should bring, you know, even a lot of memories too, you know. And that, you know, one thing leads into the other, you know. I can find number of ways to talk about, you know. It kind of gets off the wall a little bit, I guess, but you know, it's just, that's the way, you know, talking goes with me.
Right. You know, I know when my grandma, when she retired, she stopped doing things. And I think it really impacted her health. She had diabetes, she had problems with her heart, and I think she died too soon. She was only about 78 when she passed away.
Oh, boy.
So it would have been really nice to get her out there and And maybe it would have been differently if she had gotten out there.
Well,
and
it
done
does a
things.
person a lot of good.
Mhm.
I mean, it did me a lot of good, and after I had my heart operated on and I got going again. It took it took a month or so to get it going, because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a major operation.
Right.
And I got it going and say, I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel real good. That's why I started this program,
Yeah.
to keep myself a little busy.
Yep. And you're helping others, just learn
Oh,
about
sure. Oh, yeah.
what's going on in the community. So it's not just helping you,
Yeah.
you're helping everyone.
And another thing is you learn a lot. I mean, you got one thing to talk about, and somebody else that comes, they got another thing to talk about that's different.
Yep.
And to me, it's really good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of other reasons why we encourage folks to get out and volunteer. Some other ways that you might not have thought about is volunteering can be good if you're looking for a job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
So somebody who's maybe just graduated from college, and they're not working in their field. Volunteering is a way to actually do something in your field, and that connection can lead to a job.
Oh, sure. Well,
It
yeah.
certainly worked for me. I actually, before I worked for United Way, I volunteered for United Way.
Oh, sure.
So that was their big thing. They decided, I volunteered so well. They hired me to run their volunteer center. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But volunteering, it also gives you references that you can list on resumes, and experiences. Like if you don't have job experiences to list on your resume, you can put in those volunteer experiences that are related to your field.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Another good reason to volunteer is it's good for youth. So if you have any children or grandchildren or great nieces or nephews or nieces and nephews, you might want to encourage them to volunteer and maybe volunteer with them, because volunteering is very good for youth. We know that youth who volunteer learn how to respect others. They're learning leadership skills. They're learning how to work together as a team. They tend to do better in school and graduate.
Oh, sure.
And they tend to make better choices, and they have higher self-esteem.
Oh, sure.
So I know that some of that might be kind of like, how does that work?
Right.
How can a youth who's volunteering make better choices? And to me, it's pretty obvious.
You got to make it happen yourself. I mean, you got to kind of put your foot forward or whatever.
Right.
And I know all about that because I was in a lot of businesses, and each business is different than the other one, and I tell you, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, and I like that.
Yeah. Another way that volunteering is good for youth is that it helps them make better choices. And I have an experience from when I was a teenager. Back when I was in high school, my church group went to the Twin Cities area to it was kind of like the neighborhood table here. It was they were serving folks, but it was these were all homeless, and up in the Twin Cities, these are people who are living under bridges, like literally. And I brought my camera with me because I had a 4-H project that I wanted to do as well. When they were fine with it, they just made an announcement. There's a student here taking pictures, and you can just let her know if you don't want your picture taken.
Oh, sure.
And one of the people there approached me and said, "You know what? I used to be a photographer, and he had a really good job, and now he's homeless and living under a bridge. What happened?" And he explained to me how he got sick and he missed work a few too many times, and they fired him, and he didn't have a support system. So he didn't have any close relatives or friends that could help him out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Right, yeah. So, it was an eye-opening experience for me. So I kind of realized, bad things can happen, and this is how it can happen. But then also, it kind of helps you make better choices too.
Oh, sure.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I need to get my degree. I need to go to college, to make sure things like this doesn't happen to me.
Right.
So it also makes you realize just how much we need each other and how we
You'd
can't
be
do
awful
things.
surprised,
Yeah.
it can happen that way.
We're never we're all very interdependent, and we all need
Right.
each other from one time or another.
Right.
There's
You never know when.
exactly.
When you need help. I mean, and I know I'm old as I am right now, but I need a little bit more help when you get older. And of course, when you get in the 80s, you need you need a little push, not a shove. You need a little push.
Right. And that's
You
where
know,
it's our turn to step up and be there. So
Yeah.
I also encourage families to volunteer together.
Well, that would be pretty nice.
That's a really awesome thing to do.
Yeah.
So if you ever say to yourself, I don't spend enough quality time with my kids or grandkids, volunteering is a good way to do that. Or it's also a way to pass down a skill or your family values.
Sure.
Like in our family, helping others is really important,
Oh, yeah.
and working hard is really important. So for us, having our kids come volunteer with
Sure.
us is a
yeah.
really good way to show that to them.
Sure.
And then also it also creates memories too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure it does. Yeah.
So like I remember when I was probably about 10 years old or so, my grandma taught me how to knit.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a number of volunteer opportunities that involve knitting.
That's a good pastime, It's, yeah, it is. It sure is. Oh,
Yep. At Aspirus Riverview Hospital, they need hats. They need baby hats, and they need shawls for the cancer center.
Oh, sure.
Heartland Hospice needs shawls for their patients. And then when it gets cold out, wintertime, a lot of organizations are looking for like hats and mittens and
sure.
scarves. Those all can be knitted.
Oh, sure.
So, this volunteering together with your kids and grandkids, that's one way you could do that. If you know how to knit, you could just grab one of your grandkids and say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to knit, and we're going to make some scarves for Coats for Kids or something like that.
Yeah, well, they find that it's pretty interesting when you learn stuff like that. You
Yeah.
can make stuff, you can feel proud of yourself. Think, boy, I can do this. Maybe
Right,
that other
right.
one can't, but if she can't or he can't, we can teach him.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yep. And I'll never forget my grandma teaching me how to knit.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot how to knit. Grandma's not here to give me a refresher.
Yeah, that makes it bad too, It's,
But I do remember sitting down and learning how to knit with
oh,
my
sure.
grandma. So,
Oh, sure.
and that
And it was a pleasure. I mean,
it was, yes.
It was real nice feeling. Sitting by grandma,
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, good. Up in grandma's, they're pretty good. Oh, yeah.
She never spoiled me ever.
Well, now I think you kind of tell a little tale there.
Yes, I am.
But they don't mean it in a way, and
Yeah.
in a way they try to help you along a little bit, and
Yeah.
that, and like grandmas, they was the best cooks in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, my God, I tell you, my grandmas, oh my God, they could cook.
Yep.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah,
See,
whenever I'm feeling blue, I just go pull out my grandma's meatloaf recipe.
Oh, yeah, and that was the best.
Yes, it is.
That's the best, boy. I'll tell you, it just seemed like they mix this and mix that, Think, boy, how is that going to taste, But my gosh, when they get it all done, you take a piece of it, boy, take another one. I mean, it tastes good.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I miss my grandmas, very
me
much.
too.
I mean, they were back on the farm, and boy, they did cooking all day long, They had a old cook stove there, you know, and they warmed up this and they put it on the top, you know, and keep it warm, you know. Oh, gosh, I tell you, I go back a long ways. I we ain't got time for that right now. Don't get me started with this. Jesus God, I tell you. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
Sorry about my handwriting.
How do you do with it? Where there's
Volunteer recognition.
recognition, yeah, volunteers, yeah. How you go about that?
Recognizing volunteers. Well, for one way that we recognize volunteers, and I think it's important to note too that I know that a lot of volunteers are not doing the great things that they're doing because they want to be recognized. So that's why I wanted to bring that up, because our volunteer recognition programs that we do are not glorifying one volunteer and saying this is what a great volunteer looks like or anything like that, because there's so many different kinds of volunteers who are doing different things. But one way that we recognize volunteer is our monthly volunteer spotlight, and that gets published in a number of places like the newspaper, the Daily Tribune, and the City Times, and we post it on our website as well. And we do that because not because we want to spotlight the volunteer, but because we're trying to promote volunteerism.
Oh, sure.
We want people to see that in the paper and say, wow, you know what? My last story was about a 92-year-old woman who's still out there volunteering, and I want folks to say, wow, if she can do that, I can volunteer too, or maybe they might say, oh wow, that career closet's a really neat program, I want to do that too. So it's really more of a promotional piece to get people out volunteering, either for the program that they're doing or something else that they're interested in. So. And we do that monthly, so we do take nominations for our volunteer spotlight story, and so if anybody has a story idea, I know you guys have been in it years ago, you and your wife, you've been the subjects. I remember sitting probably right in this spot interviewing you guys. It might have been a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think it was.
So
it was a lot of fun,
Yeah, but then we also have our volunteer breakfast as well, and I know you're there almost every year. So. Oh yeah,
I look forward to it.
Yeah, and
talk to this one, talk to that one, see if I can get them on the show here or whatever,
That's what you're doing there. Huh?
That's what I'm doing there. That's what I'm doing there. And some is still hanging yet. Some they ain't come forth yet. I mean, it's.
So, but there again, I don't think that we're glorifying the volunteers. We're really just kind of celebrating all the volunteers in the community. We do it every spring, and during National Volunteer Week. And gosh, I think every year I learn something new about a new program. There's always like a new agency that's been probably in the community for years and years. I never even knew about them, and it's really neat to learn about that.
Oh yeah, there's always something to learn. I mean, it's, that's the way everything goes. You don't know it all. Just ask and you get it.
Yeah, just when you think you know it all, you find out you don't.
Yeah, then you make a fool of yourself.
Yep.
If you get someplace where you're, like here or that, this is going to be televised, and you don't want to goof up.
Right.
Too much.
No.
It's just one of those things, But I just ask the people, just be normal, I'm used to it. I mean, this here doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky.
It's, I was in so many businesses that, I mean, it just, it grows on you.
Yep.
Put it that way, And like I was in the car business. I was in the tire business. I was in all kinds of businesses.
You've done it all.
I done it all.
Jack of all trades.
And master none. That's what they'll say. But I mean, it's if you like that, that's a good way to go. I think it is very good. Now, like this afternoon, I enjoy this. I really enjoy talking to you. I mean, it's just, I find out a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, we go to the next one here. Let's see. How can someone get started?
With volunteering, yes. Well, if anyone's interested in starting volunteering, there's just a number of ways because we know that a lot of people they just have different attitudes and ways of approaching volunteerism. So we really kind of leave it up to the volunteer to tell us which direction they want to go to. So, like for example, I'll get folks who'll call me at the volunteer center and they'll say, well, and as soon as they find out I have a website, they'll be like, what, I'm just going to look at the website. And I get that. It's no big deal. Some folks, they just want to browse through the opportunities, and they might want to connect with the agency directly through the website, and that's fine. I mean, that's absolutely great.
Yeah, sure.
Some people don't want to do that. They want to talk to a real life person.
Yeah.
So then I can either do an interview on the phone or I can do it in person.
Oh, yeah.
And we just talk about their skills and their availability and stuff like that. And
Sure.
and then we go from there. And
Sure.
what I'll usually do is just take notes and write down a lot of different agencies, and we'll narrow it down. People get a little freaked out. Like, what are you gonna make? Are you gonna make me do 10 volunteer opportunities? And no, we're just gonna jot a few things down, and we're gonna condense it down, and then we're gonna take the next step from there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, sometimes they kind of make a big deal out of this. They say it like volunteer, that they think it's more.
Yes, and I don't want people to freak out because
Right.
I mean, as a matter of fact, even if we're just reaching out to an agency, it might not be to say, hey, this guy's going to volunteer. We might just be asking for more information.
Oh, sure.
So we definitely don't want to, really kind of push people. We want it to be a positive experience, and we want them to take it at their own pace.
Well, sure. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go down to their pace, not yours, but their pace. And sometimes, they kind of work up a little bit too,
And sometimes we'll just recommend doing like a one-time volunteer opportunity. Like, for example, every fall we have our Day of Caring. It's a raking event.
Oh, sure.
We'll encourage folks to do the raking event first and then see if they want to do something after that. So there's really no strings attached. They could just do the one thing and then move on from there if they liked it.
Yeah, well, see, then they don't feel like they're pushed into it or whatever. That you don't want to do.
Right.
Because once you do that, then you lost it.
Right. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right thing for that volunteer.
Right.
So they might try out volunteering for A agency and then B agency, and it's just not a good fit. Then we just encourage them to touch base. Just call me back and say, what, I went to the A and the B agencies, and this is just not what I really wanted to do, and then that's where I can intervene and I can say, okay, well, maybe there's another opportunity at that agency, or maybe we should look at a different agency for something else.
Oh, sure.
I'm always here to answer any volunteers' questions.
Right, yeah. Well, that makes it a lot better for the person that's getting into it or whatever.
Yep. It's
helps
not a
them
scary
along.
experience. I'm not gonna throw my meat hooks into you and stick you into 5 different agencies and have you work 24/7. I'm not gonna do that.
You don't want people to feel that way either. It's they kind of, some of them, they gotta kind of ease into it.
Right.
They're like what I'm saying, maybe they can't pick it up right away, or that it takes a little while, to get used to it.
Right.
And that, I know all about them things. I've been in so many businesses that,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me, like here too. People say, "Gee, don't it bother you?" I say, "It don't bother me at all." I'm just a talker. I mean, I can talk.
I haven't noticed.
Oh, good. Then I pulled it over you then. Yeah, I guess I got that settled. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we got the third one done, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I ought to get started. Okay, now, what volunteer opportunities, it says there.
What volunteer opportunities are
Volunteer.
available? Again, I apologize for my handwriting.
Oh,
I didn't
got
realize my
poor
handwriting were that
I
bad.
got poor eyesight anyway, and
Okay.
it just doesn't. So, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah. So if you are listening in and you're like, yeah, I think I do want to volunteer, and you are kind of wondering what kind of volunteer opportunities are out there.
Oh, sure.
There's a couple different ways you can just kind of look at it. Like I mentioned, our website, which is www.volunteerinnerwisc.org. And folks can just browse the different volunteer opportunities, and if they have a computer and know how to use our website, they can just look at all the different volunteer opportunities and see if one looks interesting to them.
Oh, sure.
And or they can listen in on the radio Wednesdays at 8:30. Or they can just give me a call at the volunteer.
Are you on the radio too? Or?
I am. I'm on WFHR at 8:30 every Wednesday.
You're on with Carl then.
Yes. Carl and James.
Carl and James, yeah. James, he's a great
And
guy.
they don't give me a hard time at all.
Boy, are you? Okay. Who are you telling?
Say what?
Who are you telling this to?
You.
I know them guys.
They don't give you a hard time either, do they?
Okay. We'll leave it go at that.
Okay, sounds good.
They're not but human beings, same as we are. Okay, what else can we talk about here now? We got the last one here. Number 4, we got
Oh yeah, some of the volunteer opportunities.
opportunities.
The different kinds of volunteer opportunities we have.
There's still a lot of available ones yet?
Oh
or
yes,
they are?
definitely.
Okay.
You can volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. Just share a skill at the Boys and Girls Club, or just help a kid with their homework.
Oh, sure.
You can volunteer at the Literacy Council and teach someone who has who's learning English as a second language, or maybe struggled with reading when they were in school. Really help them enhance their reading skills so they can get a better job. You can volunteer at the Aging and Disability Resource Center, where you could be like a Meals on Wheels volunteer, delivering meals out to folks in the community, or at one of the senior meal sites. And at the Heartland Hospice, there's a number of volunteer opportunities that I think are kind of interesting. Heartland Hospice is it's not what you really think it is, because I think some people kind of freak out when they hear hospice and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with that sort of aspect, and and it's really not that bad, and especially they're looking for veterans to be matched with their veterans who are clients, and they really need help with that.
Well, I suppose some needs more help than others.
Right.
Too. They're kind of lost.
It's just they're basically just visiting. With the hospice, you're just basically visiting, and they really need that, and especially in that time at the stage of their lives. So.
Well, it's a good thing we got these programs, whatever you want to call them, that's,
Yeah.
you can give some help to some of these people,
Yeah.
and it goes a long ways.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, it goes a long ways. 1 minute yet? Well, I guess we
Well,
better
the past 5 minutes went really fast.
start closing this out here. Jeez. So, well, I want to thank you to come here to
Yeah.
talk and about this here, and there'll be a lot of people listening, I know,
Awesome.
too.
All right.
And we hope you have just as good as luck now as you did before
All right.
with this stuff,
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I guess it come to a close now, right? It's all done.